Hi, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Flex and Reflect Sunday Sit Down. Every week, if this is the first time you're joining me, I sit down and answer the questions that have been sent in, asked by clients, etc., around health, wellness, fitness, nutrition, strength training, cardio training, and my passion uh, for the past couple of years has been around mindset because that controls everything. I hope you've all had a good Christmas. We're in that sort of transition period between Christmas and New Year. Certainly here in Australia, most people are on holidays until about the 6th of January, depending on what it is that you are doing. Some people till the end of January. This is obviously the big holiday season with school holidays here. I know it's different over in the US and for all the listeners in the Northern Hemisphere, but that's the way that it happens here. So we're in summer, nice warm weather, and it's a good time for families. But also, what I'm finding is in talking to clients that are like I've worked every day. Even Christmas Day, I did some work, and clients started back from Boxing Day, so really just one day without clients and what I'm finding is that everybody is wanting to get back into that routine. They've got some, would you call it post-Christmas remorse, whether it's been either food or alcohol or things like that, where they've perhaps overindulged or not even overindulged, but ate some different food than they normally do. And they're bloated, they feel a bit, and now because we do have such a go, go, go type of lifestyle, when you stop at this time of the year, you can feel a little bit lost, right? Because you're wanting to perhaps keep on going, but also have a break at the same time. So it's a funny time of the year. And then I find between that Christmas Boxing Day and the end of the year, which is where we are today, what are we with the 29th of December, I think people are just lost. What do we do? What do we do today? Do we do this? Do we do that? What do the kids want to do? Etc., etc. So my recommendation is that you take time out, focus on you. Okay, so if you're listening to this, thank you for taking the time. Now I'm only going to where are my questions gone? I've got five questions here today, and I'm just going to go through those five. And I've just lost my questions. Hang on. I got to find them again. Where did they? I just put my thumb on the iPad and they just disappeared. Let's see. Let me find them. Oh gosh, this is really bad um, live recording. Here we go. Okay. So sorry about that. All right. So now that we're in holidays, how can I stay on track with my health and fitness goals while still enjoying the festive celebrations? Well, I think it's an awesome time of the year to be maybe reflecting on what it is that you have done through the year. Where are you right now? Are you exactly where you want to be? And I would find that probably no one is, because certainly when you're on a success journey, when you get, if this is where you want to get to, and you're getting closer and closer and closer, what you tend to do is move it out a little bit so you keep going, move it out a little bit and keep going. And that's certainly what I do for myself. And then you're always driven to achieve that next level of success. And I find that really, really exciting. So in terms of this time of the year, think about where you are, think about what it is that you want, reflect, and think, all right, well, you know what your schedule is going to be like, or to some extent, maybe you don't. But you can be in control each day of those things and where you're going to spend your time. So I think about it like this. If you've got some time off, then double down on your health and wellness. Put in place those routines that are impactful, more reinforcing of empowering positive habits, and embed them now while you're on holidays, so that when you get back to your normal life, you can continue with that momentum. Now, maybe it's a little bit different. The timing needs to be different, but my personal recommendation is that you get up and you do your workouts, whether that be a cardio workout, going for a walk, or whether it is doing your strength workout first thing in the morning, and then it's done. You've already had a victory, right? And you can then move on with whatever it is that you're going to do next. But if you do everything else next, you'll find you get distracted. Maybe you go you go away for a day trip or whatever, you're looking at the watch. By the time you get back home, you're too tired, you don't feel as inspired to do it, and so you miss it. So I'll do it tomorrow. And then tomorrow comes along, something else happens. What this does is prevents tomorrow from distracting you from all that stuff. Okay, so I think that's a really good practice. And then I think I mentioned this last week, but if you're going away camping with the family or other families and doing that kind of stuff, and you're not going to have access to all your equipment and all of that maybe for your workout, then maybe this is a time where you say, "Do you know what? I'm not going to focus on my strength side of things. I'm just going to have a break from that." Use that time instead to maybe build what it is that you want for your health and wellness and your fitness for next year, the rest of this year. Write it all down. Just grab your phone. I use, let me open it up here. I just use, like my Apple Notes here, and there you go there. There's just a few things that I've written down for this week. That page I just showed you is like for today. I then tick them off as I've kind of done them like that on the side there. There we go, those ones there. And then they drop to the bottom, and then I look at all the other things that I need to do. And well, I've got you can scroll quite a bit, and that's how I track what it is that I'm doing. And so also include in there, just use your health, wellness, fitness, mindset, personal growth goals as well. Work on that side of you. So have a break from the strength training, go for walks, be active. Don't go nuts with the food. Don't go nuts with alcohol. If alcohol is not something that works really well for you, maybe have a different strategy. Have one drink, have no drinks. Just approach things a little bit differently. And then when you come back from your holidays, maybe then get back into your strength training, that type of routine. Everybody goes on different types of holidays, but I think it's just a great time of the year to be just doubling down your focus on your habits, what you want, what your definition of health is, why you want that in your life. And if you've got it as number two or number three or number four, or not even on your radar as your life goal priorities, focus on getting it to number one. If it's already at number one, reinforce why it is number one and why it must remain number one for you. All right. Next question. What are your top strategies for managing stress and maintaining a positive mindset during the busy end of year? Yeah, so this is an interesting point as well. I just mentioned that, like so many Australians, to like take breaks and all that kind of stuff, but it's also such a hectic time. If you think about retail, food outlets, we've got the Australian Open coming up. There are so many emergency services, hospitals, all that kind of stuff. There are so many services that keep the world running that are so poorly paid, really, for the work that they do. But we could not survive without them. And I think just keep that in mind when you're in stores and you're on holidays, but they're working so hard. Just be grateful and know that yeah, you might just say, oh, well, they've got a job and they're getting paid and they should just do this. But just be mindful that this can be a tough time in the period of the year for people to work through as well. And yeah, they're the backbone of our country, any country, right? So just be grateful and give them some respect, and imagine what they're going through. They've got to do all their Christmas stuff as well as maintain their work and all that kind of thing. So I think the thing with stress, it hits us all differently. And one of the things that helps is those things I just said. Gratitude is a big one, right? We get really upset about things, and yeah, whether it's FOMO, whether it's we don't think we're good enough, or whether we're focusing on what we don't have. Forget all of that. That can drive you perhaps to be a better version of yourself if you look at it from the right perspective. But focus on what you do have in your life. Focus on who you are as a person, and the moments that you have, right? Like I could have sat around all Christmas and been really unhappy with what I don't have in my life and the sadness and all that kind of stuff. But the reality is, I'm very grateful for what I do have in my life and the person that I can work on to be better, and the people that I have in my life. Very, very special people in my life that I value. Very, very, very closely. And we often forget those things. And then you say, well, I don't have anybody. Well, do you know what you do have? You have yourself. And if you want to think about, well, I have nothing to be grateful for about me. I'm a loser, I'm this, I'm that, or whatever. Well, you're looking at it through the wrong lens, because what you could be grateful for, just think about if you have nothing else, you don't have to focus on staying alive and breathing every day. You were just gifted with the organs in your body, your heart. I don't have to think about my heart. Come on, heart, keep going, keep going, keep going. Now, I do a lot of things to support healthy heart and to make sure that it's strong and keeps going. But my heart keeps going, right? You can be grateful for that if you want to be. So find those things in your life that you are grateful for and focus on the things that you can control. You can control who you spend time with, how you're spending your days. Are you moving your health to the number one priority in your life? Things like that. And I think when you just maybe change your view from here to maybe here, it can have a massive difference in how stressed you are because of the way that you're looking at things. Another way is to obviously you need this can be an intense time because you're spending it with people that maybe you don't normally spend it with. I had somebody stay with me for 3.5 days. Tremendous person, and a really, really great friend. But you've got somebody in your space, and it was the same for her. Where at some point we're kind of like because we both just go, go, go all the time, and you kind of get to that point. And I remember looking at her and said, you really don't know what to do right now, do you? You should be, you're thinking you should be winning. She said, yeah. So, okay, so why don't we, get out your MacBook, I get out my iPad, and why don't we just do a little bit of work? And, so that's what we did. And then that was just, I suppose, being mindful of my guest and knowing that both of us just don't stop. And it's probably good that you do stop from time to time. But your whole routine is different. Now, some people I heard, I was at the airport waiting to collect my guest, and I heard the family next to me saying that they were going to have 22 people in their house. Now, at some point, I had three, my good friend, my daughter and her boyfriend, and a dog and a cat, Whiskers and Milo. And that was it. I'm thinking 22 people, holy crap, that would be crazy. So you've lost all perspective of your space. So if that's like you, then you've got to find some time to just get out and go for a walk. Even if that's by yourself, or if you're lucky enough to be able to do that, or even like my friend and I, we went for a couple of walks, we did a workout, things that really serve us well to, bring out the best version of that. And it really helps, manage the stress as well. So it can be a really tricky time. People think, oh, well, it's happy, it's joyful, all that kind of stuff. And, people send me messages saying this must be a really, like reminding me, this must be a really hard time of the year for you. You've lost your daughter and this is your second Christmas without her and all that kind of stuff. And of course, all of that is true and it comes from a good place, but it's like, thanks for the reminder, kind of thing. But it all comes from a good place. But yeah. So anyway, all right. Number three, as the year wraps up, what's the best way to reflect on my health and fitness journey and set realistic goals for the new year? So I kind of covered this in the first one, but I like to. So okay, I go through this process where um, most people tend to be thinking about next year at the end of the year, start of the new year, and then within really 3 weeks, it all goes out the window because they start off, yeah, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, and then 3 weeks later they haven't done it, or they've done it a little bit, and then it stops, and they move back into their old transactional way of life. For me, because I've conditioned myself over really probably 5 years now, I have this process where every single week, and today being Sunday, if I'm sure I've spoken about this before, Sunday's my favorite day of the week where I take my iPad, I go like sit outside somewhere where it's different, like I'm at my desk right now, but away from this, and I'll plan out the week ahead. And I'll plan out what am I like by this time next week, the outcomes that I want to achieve. Some of those are transactional because that's just the nature of it. So wouldn't you know it? Yesterday, my washing machine decided to break down. So a transactional thing there is I've reached out to my connection that does appliance fixing, and he's told me a strategy. He said, pull off the front and have a look. And, he says like, I don't know what I'm looking at, man. It's like, I can't see something in there that's like rattling around. So I don't know. But because it's such a good machine and he reconditioned it last time, he's going to come and have a look and everything. But that's a transactional thing, right? That I need to get fixed. I focus on the transformational things as well. Like, how do I move from here to over here? So you can't really see them, but my little map here, which is stuck to the wall, there's, I don't know why it blurs it out, but anyway, there's pins in there, and people come and say, "Are they all the countries that you've been to?" I say, "No, they're all the countries where my podcasts listeners are." So it's over 70, well, I think it's actually 70 different countries. And so for me, that could be one of the things. So it's like, oh, well, I'd like to get in, the countries where people aren't listening, which China is the main one, even though I was on China TV. Maybe there's some listeners there now. I haven't checked for a while, but yeah, thinking about what are those big things that you want to achieve. And so then on a weekly basis, I'm looking at how does that fit into this? Let's use the podcast example and getting into China. Okay, who can I connect with this week to help me connect with somebody, a podcaster or someone in China where I can get on their show, maybe promote my show, etc., etc. And then, so your big goal has to lead to be made up of a bunch of smaller goals. And then it only happens if you implement, right? So I do that on a weekly basis. And then every day at nighttime, I'm sitting up in bed with my iPad again, reflecting on what did I do for the day? What didn't I do? And then put the things that I need at the top of my schedule and then make sure I check in I just use Google Calendar to schedule events. So I schedule time in my calendar to ensure that I'm going to work on that goal. Otherwise, it won't just accidentally happen. So I'll find that my whole schedule from really about 5 a.m. through to 9:15 p.m. is complete, 9:30 actually, is completely blocked out in terms of I've got client appointments in there and every other space is made up of something. Now, sometimes that's time, like at night time before I go to sleep, I'll block out time for me. Even it's got to be a minimum of half an hour, preferably an hour to 90 minutes, where I can do the reflection that I've just said. And that's what helps me move forward. Now, that comes back to setting yourself up for next year because I do that on a weekly basis and daily basis. What I'm doing this year is having a look at, all right, so what are some of those big things that I can focus on for 2025? And I have 5 specific topics. You can go and have a listen to it on the Mental Toughness and Body Show. I've just posted it this morning. It's episode 1474, where I'm talking about the 5 specific things in my life that are laser focused for next year. And then I break them down a little bit as to what each one is. So I find that this is a really good process, and you can only do this if you write it down, right? If you do not write these things down, you will not remember them, you won't action them. And so you've got to then turn these big things into actionable steps. So if I look at where I am right now compared to this time last year, it is so far above what I thought I would be doing. And even some things that are awesome weren't even on my plan last year. Well, actually, some of them were, particularly in the advocacy space with Liv, but I far exceeded that. That oh, thanks, Siri. That everyone wants to pipe in. That I can't believe that these things happen. So what could happen this time next year? Maybe I'll tell you about it. You just don't know. But when you keep doing these things consistently, you just keep on going. That's the same with your health and wellness as well. Move it to your number one priority. Build your definition of health, why that's important to you. I did another podcast a couple of days ago called My 5 Whys. Go and have a listen to that too. That's on the Mental Toughness and Body Show. And when you do that with each aspect of your life, you'll find that, wow, the level of focus you have is so, so different. And if I use the maps here and the pins as an example, you go from rather than just, wow, I'm now just looking at a big map, what do I do? Right down to here is the pin that goes into this point. Like it's a pinpoint, laser accuracy as to what it is that you're going to do and what you're aiming for. So that's what you need to do with this. Let's go through two more questions. What quick, effective workouts do you recommend for staying active during the holidays when time is limited? So I'll tell you one that I often use for people that are, say, going away, they don't have access to any equipment, they don't want to go to a gym or don't have access to a gym, or whether it's in a motel or otherwise. Um, Two approaches. One, if you've had a really intense training program, like up to this time of the year. Like I said before, I say to people, why don't you just take a week off? Give the body a rest from strength training, not cardio, strength training. Still get out, do your walking. Don't thrash yourself with cardio, but do what you love doing and just watch what you eat so that you don't feel like you blow out around the midsection or whatever. And then get back into your normal routine when you get back home. Otherwise, if you're away, and a very quick, simple way to do a strength program would be these things. Do crunches, okay? Do squats. I know I'm going to talk, actually, I'll change the order. You can do one straight after the other with as little rest as possible. I don't want it to be a cardio workout, it's a strength workout, but because we're going to be working different muscles, and by the time you rest, breathe, and move from one to the other, you're going to find that it's at least 30 seconds to a minute before you start again. So crunches, roll over, do push-ups on your knees if you need to. Stand up, do squats if you can, the versions that you can do. Go back to the floor and lie on your tummy and do back extensions where if this is your body, you lie, and this is your head, you lie face down, then you curl yourself up like this, hold for 3 seconds, come back down. It works your lower back. Do 12 repetitions of each one. And if you can do that through 3 times, so go 1, 2, 3, 4, back to the start, 1, 2, 3, 4, back to the start, 1, 2, 3, 4, by about 12 reps, then that's a quick, simple, different type of exercise that you can do that will still get the blood pumping through to your muscles. Is it the same as doing a massively heavy weight, doing like leg press and stuff? No, it's not. But you're still moving the muscles, getting the blood flow. Maybe it's like a bit of an active recovery workout for you. But that's a really simple one to do it and just focus on some movement. Maybe do some different things. Like if you've got kids and stuff, where you can, be playing around, kicking a ball, that sort of thing. A lot of people get new bikes and scooters and stuff. Maybe go for a walk with them, ride with them, that kind of stuff. Try and keep it simple. Don't overcomplicate it. That workout I said, anywhere between probably 10 to 15 minutes that will take you to do through 3 times, right? Keep it simple. How can I balance indulgence with mindful eating to avoid the common holiday weight gain? Well, for this one, you probably said it with mindful eating. So what I like to do is I focus on the macronutrients. So I focus on where's my protein coming from, where's my plant food coming from, where's the high energy food coming from, and I just keep the portion size to what I would normally have. Yeah, there might be a banquet of food in front of you, but don't eat it all, right? Don't overindulge just because it's there. If there's some different food, then fantastic. But think about what protein. If you've got seafood or things like that that you like, have a little bit, a little bit of everything. Or I can't really handle that. I've got to eat, like the one thing. My tummy doesn't really agree with eating lots of variety in one meal. But just focus on your normal portion sizes. Make sure you get plenty of plant-based food. Make sure you're drinking plenty of water. Make sure that you're not overindulging in overly fatty, creamy type things, which are going to leave you bloated at some point. If you're having like your traditional plum pudding and things like that, don't have a massive serve of it. It's a very, very dense, heavy dessert that's also rich, loaded with calories. And then if you have custard and you have, like ice cream and stuff with it, man, that's a really rich dish. And at some point, it's going to sit in your tummy, and then it just gets bigger and bigger. And it's like, oh man, I now feel really bloated, right? So have a small piece, right? And do it that way. So I think you've just got to think about what it is that you are wanting to achieve here. Do you want to have some different food? Then yeah, terrific. Then do that. I will do that too. but I can't overdo it, eat too much because I'm going to feel worse later. And you do this as a kid, right? Even as a young adult. And you just 2, 3 hours later, you're just lying and think, oh man, the pain of the seems to be the stomach is just like pulsating to get out. And it's like, oh man, I wish it would just digest. Um, and that takes away from the fun of everything that you just did, right? So don't overdo the portion sizes. Don't overdo the alcohol either. Either don't have a little bit. Don't overdo it just because maybe everybody else is. You know you're going to feel worse at some point, either later that day, next day, whatever. All right, on that note, have a great rest of the year. We'll be into the new year when we next speak. So stay focused on what it is that I spoke about here today about how to set yourself up. Go and have a listen to episode 1474 of the Mental Toughness and Body Show. It's about my it's called the 2025 plan. And go back and have a listen to, not sure which episode it is. Actually, I'll be able to tell you. One moment. One moment. It is episode 1471. Remember, I do these daily. It's called Five Whys to Success. That's where I walk through that process as well, where you can apply it to each of my 5 areas that I talk about in my plan in today's episode. So be safe, be healthy, have fun, and my love to all of you and your family. I'll see you next time.